Be sure you get Granny.
No, please. No,
You
never.
have to be in the picture.
No.
This is the national issue speech. Have any of you heard of the movie American Sniper? Have any of you heard of the disease that the antagonist had called PTSD? PTSD is a common disease recurring in veterans coming home from war. PTSD can be very sneaky and very deceitful, meaning that it can be in your most cherished family members' lives and you wouldn't even know it. According to Lacey Glover, who wrote an article for Mental Health, wrote PTSD statistics for veterans published in 2014. She stated close to 540,000 veterans who fought in the Afghanistan and Vietnam War suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD is a common and more reoccurring symptom. It is constantly making itself more prominently known in the U.S. Today, I will talk about the increasing numbers in PTSD as well as relating it to current events happening in the United States. The number of victims is increased from the early 2000s to now. Over the years, veterans have become more and more victimized, meaning that the numbers are becoming more and more prominent. According to James Dow, who published an article in 2013, stated from around 2013 to 2007, the number of veterans diagnosed with PTSD was more than 10 times the original number. According to the same article written by Dow, over 12,000 veterans were diagnosed with PTSD in 2013 alone. That's only 2 years ago, and that's 12,000 veterans. As well as the number of diagnoses increasing over the years, a significant number of fatal deaths, depressions, and suicides have been occurring in the United States as well. According to recent statistics, the rates of veteran suicides are become higher than previously thought. Based on a VA suicide data report published by James Cogan in 2012, stated that 22 veteran suicides happen a day. We don't think about this number as often as I think Americans should, considering the veterans have fought for our freedom and fought for our lives, and we don't give them enough credit for the stress and the hardships that they go through. According to Pete Bush, who wrote for New Roads Behavioral Health, published an article in 2014 stating that 50% of people who suffer from PTSD don't seek help. On top of that 50%, another 50% depend on alcohol to support themselves and 30% depend on drugs to support themselves. Now that I've talked about the increasing numbers of veterans dealing with suicides, depressions, as well as the occurring numbers increasing over the years, I will talk about relating it to current events. As stated earlier, American Sniper is a popular film released recently. It's a basic storyline, as many of you know, but for those who don't, Chris Kyle is the American hero who served 4 tours fighting for our freedom, as well as his antagonist who suffered a severe form of PTSD. Chris Kyle sought help to conquer the disorder and to help others. One of these men that he helped was his murderer. In comparison to Kyle's popular turnaround, his murderer suffered a very different level of disease. This disease caused tension and stress to occur, which means that he had no control over his actions. He had no idea what he was doing. He had flashbacks of going back to war, which caused him to take these actions against Chris Kyle. According to Seth Robson, who wrote for Stars and Stripes Foundation in 2012, stated, soldiers who go to treatment between 20 and 50% walk away before treatment is even started. Therapy and treatments help. However, if these patients and these veterans are not compliant and they refuse to seek help and they refuse to raise their voices, they're not only hurting themselves, but they are hurting others around them too. Now that I've talked about the increasing numbers of the PTSD making itself more known, the suicides, depressions, and fatal accidents happening in the United States, as well as relating it to current events happening in the United States, I would just like to make it known that the numbers have been increasing over the years. They have become drastically different regarding from 2001 to current times now. This is a very serious and fatal disease that happens in our veterans that I don't think we give enough credit for. The current status of the disease is still increasing over the years. There is no show that it has been decreasing or it's been helped any. This disease, PTSD, is constantly making itself more prominently known in the United States. According to credited authors such as Lacey Glover, James Dow, and many more, I've done many articles, and I've read many articles and done a lot of research on this, and I think that us as Americans need to give it more credit than it's worth.